Hello and welcome to Provoking Tech. I'm Zach, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a walkthrough tutorial on the Synology Cloud Station. So in short, the Cloud Station is an application that runs on your Synology device that it essentially makes a service that isn't too dissimilar from OneDrive, Dropbox, Google Drive, or any of those similar applications out there. In short, it lets you synchronize a set of folders, or just a single folder even, between your local computer and your Synology device. This is great for multiple different use cases. For example, at your house, maybe you have a desktop somewhere that you can't run network wires, it costs a lot of money, or you don't want to run wires through your walls. It's just a costly or time intensive matter. Maybe you have to use Wi-Fi. Now, if you're doing something that's pretty data intensive, such as video editing, and you want to be able to scrub through your timeline pretty quickly, having that data on your local machine would be beneficial compared to having to stream that over your Wi-Fi network. So that's where one use case of a Synology Cloud Station, the Cloud Station app, would be useful. Alternatively, you can also put this on a laptop, so you can always have a set of files on the go with you at all points in time, and as long as you have internet while on the road, you can actually re-upload those back to your Synology device. So for example, if your laptop gets lost, or if it breaks somehow, it gets wet, whatever, long story short, it breaks somehow, you no longer have access to it, you don't have to go through the process of trying to recover the data off the laptop. As long as you had internet, then it'd be back at your house on your Synology device. So there's a lot of different use cases on why you'd want to use the Synology Cloud Station. So now that we kind of have a brief introduction of what it is and why you might use it, let's go ahead and jump to how to set it up. Alright, so to start things off, go ahead and click on your package center. And the easiest way, you can see here I already have it installed to kind of expedite things, but the easiest way to get to it is to click on the backup option, and you'll see it here on Cloud Station Server. There's also Cloud Station Share Sync, which essentially uses the server application to synchronize a folder or a set of folders onto another Synology Cloud Station device, whether that's one that you have offsite, like at a relative's or a close friend's house, to have an offsite source of your data in case something would happen to your local copy, or something along those lines. It makes it super simple to synchronize the data between two different Synology devices. But today we're going to be focusing on the Cloud Station server. So go ahead and install that, then click on your main menu icon. You can now see the Cloud Station server on your application list. You can right click on this to add it to your desktop if you need quick access, but this isn't a program that you're going to be accessing all the time once you have it set up the first time. To download the Cloud Station Drive, which is the application that will let you to synchronize folders onto your local machine, you'll see a download link right here. There's also the Cloud Station Backup, which uses the server but it's a completely separate application, but it lets you back up your machine to your Synology device, which is definitely a handy feature, and I will probably follow up with that on its own little video in the near future. But right now, just click on the Synology Cloud Station Drive. That'll initiate a download on your local machine automatically. You don't even have to open up the Synology website to do that. And once it's downloaded, go ahead and install it like a normal application. Now, to get things going real quick, you do have to do one more thing to essentially get the Cloud Station server set up, because it is super simple. All you have to do is go to settings and go to sync settings and click on the shared photo that you have that you want to enable the syncing on. So go ahead and click on it and then click enable. There is a automatic version control enabled, which lets you go through, if you have Dropbox, I forgot what they call it, but it's like something like Packrat, I think, or it used to be. Anyways, it would let you restore older versions of your files. I do backups on my other Synology device, and I will be doing backups on this one too. And this one's intended just to store data just for my YouTube channel and stuff as it continues to grow and the data associated with it continues to grow. I needed another device I just wanted to store it exclusively on one device by itself. But because of the fact that I do backups and pretty frequent backups, I don't really need enabled version control at this point in time, so I'm just not going to enable that, and I'm just going to click OK. All right, so that's essentially just telling you that you need to give the user access to that shared folder before they can actually synchronize it, which makes sense. Normally, when you set up a shared folder, you'll already give that user access to that shared folder. So once the user has access to that shared folder and you have enabled the sync settings and then have it enabled under the CloudStation server, you will now be able to synchronize that on your local machine. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to my desktop application that I've installed already and go ahead and walk through the setup process. You can see now that I already have the application loaded, that I already have an existing Synology connected, and I'm already synchronizing a folder on my local computer. What I'm going to do now though is create, and this is going to be the exact same process that you're going to go through, except for that you won't already have a folder already synchronized to your computer. You won't have the option to connect to an already connected Synology device, but once you've gone through the login process on the first folder and you want to synchronize multiple different folders, it's super simple to do that because you already have the Synology in your list of connected devices. But since we're connecting a new device, what we want to do is connect to another Synology NAS. We're going to enter the domain name or the Quick Connect ID, your username, and your password. And then I always keep the SSL data transmission encryption checked. I do recommend that. But if for some reason you have issues with that, that is something you can disable, but I highly recommend to keep that enabled as long as you don't have any issues. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that data real quick and be right back. All right, so after clicking next, the application will test the connection to your Synology device. And after that completes, you'll be greeted with this warning message, essentially saying that your SSL certificate could not be trusted. And the reason why is because it is a self-signed certificate. Don't worry about the data, someone trying to intercept your data. It is just a self-signed certificate. So we're going to click proceed anyways. There are ways where you could choose to, you could purchase an SSL certificate, or I have read that people have used Let's Encrypt to get a free SSL certificate that is trusted for your Synology device, so you can have an like a full SSL connection from a certified source. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is select which folder you're going to synchronize from your Synology cloud device. So this first row of options is your Synology device and the folder that's on it that you want to synchronize to your computer. I only have one shared folder that I have enabled at this point in time, so you can see that I only have one choice to choose from, but if you do have multiple shared folders that you want to enable, you will see all those options here. I'm going to go ahead and click OK on that. And now this is the option to where you want to store this folder on your local machine. Make sure to share it in or store it in a location that has plenty of space if you have a computer with multiple different drives. So I'm going to sync mine on my F drive, and I'm going to go ahead and synchronize it to the interstellar folder that I have already created on my local computer, which is empty at this point in time, but will have the folders that I am synchronizing with. So go ahead and choose the folder you want to synchronize and make sure that's blue. And I want to uncheck the create an empty CloudStation folder so that all the folders are on the top level of inside of this folder and they're not nested within another folder. So now you can see that I have my interstellar folder on my Synology device and then my interstellar folder on my F drive chosen. So these two folders will synchronize. So everything in this folder will synchronize down to Iron Man, and everything on Iron Man will synchronize back up to my Synology device. There are also some advanced options. File filter is a cool tool that I use quite a bit to not have it sync certain files. For instance, certain programs have lock files that they generate for a brief period of time to essentially lock two people from using the same file at the same time, which could cause issues. So the file filter is a good tool to use if you want to limit certain files from being synchronized between the two different devices. And you can also have set it so that it can only download the data, but it can't upload the data back up to the Synology device. This could be useful if you want someone to have read access, but you don't want them to modify the data that is on the server. So I'm going to go ahead and click done and click OK. All right, so now we have the shared folder synchronized. You will have a hyperlink here that can bring you straight to that folder. So if you have it kind of nested in your computer a little bit, it's a quick way to get to it. And what I want to do now is just do a quick test just to make sure that everything is synchronizing. So I use that this is only a test, which by the way is a great podcast. And now I'm going to go back to the browser real quick to see if that has synchronized. And let's go ahead and reopen the folder real quick. And you'll see that this is already there. So now what we're going to do is create a folder. I'm going to call it testing. And I'm going to go back to my local computer, and you can see that testing is already there. So now we have verified that it is both synchronizing both ways, just with very small, simple files. But you can see that this synchronization is working. So that's kind of the goal of this video. There is one thing that I just thought of that I wanted to make sure I covered in case you did have issues. It's the only issue I've ever had with the Cloud Station drive is to make sure that your user actually has access to use the program. So even though your user might have access to the shared folder and the shared folder is enabled in the Cloud Station server application, the user still has to have application to that user. I am an administrator on my Synology, so I already automatically have access. But if I didn't have access, one thing you might have to do is give that user access to the Synology server. You can also do it by IP, but if it's something that's mobile, that's going to be something that's super troublesome, as it's always going to be adjusting. And if you're on a dynamic IP address, which most residential IPs are, that IP will be changing from time to time too. So that's not a great way to do it. Unless you're on a business server with a static IP address, then that might be an option for you. But just check it out, and that's pretty much the third thing that you'll have to worry about. So we essentially have three different parts to making sure that everything is enabled. First, you have to have the user has to have access to the shared folder, which my earlier videos on setting up your Synology will cover. And then on top of that, you have to enable the folder within the Cloud Station server application, which I started off this video by showing that. And then finally, if you do have troubles, just make sure that the user has access to the application itself so that they can utilize the application to connect to it. And that's pretty much all there is. It's a pretty simple process to install and get this up and running. All right, so that's pretty much it for today's video. Hopefully it was informative as well as helpful in setting up your Synology Cloud Station server. If you did find it helpful, make sure you hit the big like button. I greatly appreciate that. And also, if you're not already an existing subscriber, hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more great videos from Provoking Tech. If you had any issues that I didn't cover in this video, hit me up in the comments below, or also check out our Discord server, and you can ask for help there, whether I might be able to help you or someone else in the community might be able to help you out with your Synology setup process. So once again, that's pretty much it for today's video. I hope you liked it, and thanks for watching, and until next time, Zach out.